If you're a Nigerian Super Eagles fans, this is definitely not a good time for you. And I hope for your sake that you have something else that keeps you happy, because the team right now is not exactly giving us what we want. And it's hard to think that this team is actually the team that we went to finals with a few months ago. And right now it looks like the team has completely lost every idea of how to win. And Finidi, of course, took over this job just a few weeks ago. He's played two competitive games, lost one, and drawn one. Overall, he played 4 games, two unofficial games, lost one of them, and then won one. So in total, he's played 4 games, official and unofficial, lost two, drawn one, and won one, which is not a good result. And I look at this team, and I'm really worried. Not worried, not just because of the fact that we are sitting somewhere down, wallowing in the Group C of the World Cup qualifying series, which is technically an easy group. If you look at the teams on this table, they are relatively easy. We have a Lesotho that's like 100 and 49th or thereabouts in the world ranking. Rwanda 130 something, and then Benin Republic around 91 in FIFA world ranking. And shockingly enough, we've not been able to get victory, on any of these teams. These teams that we are way, way better than in terms of players, in terms of size, talent, everything that you want to check. We are way better than these teams, but we're not getting results out of them. Played 4, drawn 3, lost 1. Shamble results in all of them. No positives to actually take from these games. And the teams that are serious about qualifying, they are getting results. South Africa, obviously, yesterday played their game and they won that game 3-1. Shows you that these guys are serious. And the likes of Rwanda obviously also played yesterday, won Lesotho 1-0. If you look at the table, it's grim if you're a Nigerian Super Eagles fans, such as myself. And this brings you to ask yourself a question. Even if we qualify to the World Cup, are we even going there to actually put up a fight? Is this how we're going to play in the World Cup? We'll not even pass the group stage. Let's just be honest with ourselves. But even getting there is the bigger issue right now. That one aside, but let me shock you with a very surprising revelation. The bigger issue is not that we've not been able to get a win in these 4 games. The bigger issue is the mentality of this team, the coach, the players. These guys don't have the mentality. Just to give you an example, could you imagine our so-called captain coming after the game to say that we must not win every game, in quotes? That's his word. Nigerian Super Eagles must not win every game, that the fans should not expect them to win every game. Is that the kind of mentality that a captain should have? That's not a winning mentality. How many games have they won? How many games have we won in the World Cup qualifying series? I mentioned in the last video that the last time we actually won a game was in 2021, November. That was a long time ago. Since then, we've not been able to get a victory. And right now, your captain is saying that we shouldn't expect them to win all the games. That's mentality. Very, very poor mentality. That's part of the problems. I think it's even the bigger problem we have here. No leadership. Nobody can actually step up and inspire these guys, force them to, ingrain in their minds, in their souls, that every game is a must win. There's no excuse. Finidi, of course, is also at fault in terms of mentality. His mentality is not that strong. And I also think it's been too soft with the boys. Imagine our coach coming after the game to say that they played really well. He thought his boys played really well. Just that the defense was bad. I'm forced to ask Mr. Finidi a question. What did they even play? I mean, what pattern did they play? Because from what I was seeing when I watched the game, they were just playing area ball, forcing the ball through the air. No passes on the floor. We're just seeing ball, from defense. They are loading it. No clear philosophy, nothing that I've not seen anything that I can say that this is what these guys are trying to do. The only thing I notice is way too many unnecessary back pass, existing between the two CBs. And then the next thing, one CB will just shoot the ball, up, trying to locate the striker from defense. Midfield completely zero. They are not using midfield. But the good news is that the sports minister have now commanded NFF to submit the technical reports for these two games, an explanation as to why we had to perform woefully as we did against South Africa. And we thought that was bad. And then we played Benin Republic and failed woefully. So Mr. Obviously, from the report is very angry. He wants accountability. He wants NFF, Finidi, everybody involved to actually be accountable for such humiliation. He says that despite the support that the federal government, through Tinubu, actually offered the NFF, Finidi, and everybody, that they provided everything that they needed ahead of these games. Why should they go and fumble like that? He wants an explanation to all of this. And the gist says Finidi may not have very much time longer to prove himself or to stay as the head coach of Nigerian Super Eagles. Finidi's job is at risk. He's in danger of losing his job. That's just the reality as it stands right now. But the thing is, we're not going to play another qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers, until next year, March, against Rwanda. So that's a very, very long time. The next games that we're going to have that Finidi will also be tested will be in September. That's when we'll start playing the Nations Cup qualifiers. And the report is Mr. Eno is not patient at all. He is right now maybe even regretting the fact that he had to stick around with local coach. Remember, he was a huge fan of retaining Coach Posero. But even reports also emanated that time. We talked about it on this channel that he called back Posero several times, even after Posero stepped down, because he loved the way that Posero played with the Nigerian Super Eagles. For crying out loud, we didn't play the most beautiful football, but our defense was tight. It was, experience was in the defense. And Finidi had the opportunity to invite Chus Ekong. I talked about that on this channel, that Chus Ekong is the one that brings calm, balance to that defense. Finidi had the chance, to call him. Ekong, of course, said that he is fully fit for that game. But Finidi decided not to go with him and instead, paraded the likes of the guys that we saw. And we saw the mistake. Bassi is a good player, don't get me wrong. But he made a very costly mistake. And it's normal because we don't expect him to be the one that coordinates the defense. He's the rugged one. He has the strength. But he needs someone that coordinates defense for him. Semi Ajayi is also someone that makes mistakes. So who's now going to correct each other? Which is why, Ekong would have made sense if he was there. But that's by the way. But to cut the long story short, the sports minister, Mr. Eno, has now ordered NFF to provide a formal report explaining why Nigerian Super Eagles faltered the way that they did. And he needs explanation because he needs to have something to explain to the presidency, because of all the support that they, infuse into the team and also for Nigerian fans as well. So that's what's happening. Finidi's job reeling on the balance, even after just being employed for less than 2 weeks. But we'll see what happens, in the coming hours. Big apologies for not posting anything for the past 2 days. But we are here again, and thank you guys for joining in to watch this one. Take care of yourselves. I hope you have a lovely day. Stay tuned to the channel. More updates unraveling.